Welcome to the inaugural weekly sports show. I'm Agastya Bajaj, and every week on this channel, I'll be posting the weekly sports show, where I discuss what has happened in the world of sports over the course of that week, and in the show, we'll also be having some other segments, such as a debate segment. And in this edition of the weekly sports show, I'll be going over what has happened in the world of sports over the course of this week. I'll be previewing some big events that will take place in sports over the course of next week, and I'll be giving out the first ever Athlete of the Week. So last week in football, we saw some incredible matches take place. First off, in the Dutch league, where league leaders Ajax defeated VV Venlo 13-0, and a match which saw young prospect Traore contribute to 8 of the goals. This 13-0 win for Ajax is now the biggest win in a major European league ever. And after Barcelona president Bartomeu and the entire board resigned after Barcelona's 3-1 defeat to Real Madrid in La Liga on Saturday, Lionel Messi and Barcelona kicked off the post-Bartomeu era with a 2-0 win in Turin in the Champions League against Juventus, thanks to goals from Ousmane Dembele and man of the match Lionel Messi. And this was arguably Lionel Messi's best performance this season. And now that he finally gets what he wants in Bartomeu resigning, hopefully Lionel Messi will be motivated to succeed and continue to put in incredible performances. And one team that has surprised everyone recently is Manchester United, as Manchester United have kicked off their Champions League campaign in incredible fashion, as they were drawn in a group against Champions League finalist PSG, Champions League semi-finalist RB Leipzig, and Istanbul Başakşehir. Many people tipped Manchester United to get eliminated from the group before the competition had begun. However, since the competition has begun, they are in pole position to advance from the group, as they've won both of their opening games in incredible fashion, as they beat PSG 2-1 in their own backyard and destroyed RB Leipzig 5-0 at Old Trafford. Manchester United are definitely sending out a statement to every European team right now, and if they can continue playing the way they have, they can certainly challenge for the Champions League title later on this year. This week was also a historic weekend in Formula 1, as Lewis Hamilton won his 92nd Grand Prix at the Portuguese Grand Prix, meaning that he has now overtaken the great Michael Schumacher's record of 91 race wins. After a shaky start in the first few laps, which saw McLaren's Carlos Sainz take the lead in the race, Lewis Hamilton managed to grab back his pole position quite quickly. And ever since he grabbed back his pole position, he managed to ease through and win his 92nd Grand Prix. This race also saw two drivers who don't have the quickest cars finish quite high up on the grid, as Ferrari's Charles Leclerc and AlphaTauri's Pierre Gasly managed to finish 4th and 5th respectively. However, all the headlines from this weekend will definitely be on Lewis Hamilton, who managed to overtake Michael Schumacher's record of most Grand Prix won and finished on the podium for a record extending 161 times. So congrats, Lewis. And in Week 7 of the NFL, we saw two undefeated teams go head-to-head, as the defensively resolute Pittsburgh Steelers defeated Derrick Henry's Titans 27-24 in a game which went right down to the wire, as Stephen Gostkowski missed a crucial field goal at the end, which would have tied the game up for the Titans and sent it to overtime. And this weekend, we also saw Tom Brady put on a vintage Tom Brady performance, as he scored 4 touchdowns in the Buccaneers' impressive win against the Raiders. And in Cleveland's dramatic win against the Bengals, we saw Baker Mayfield turn around his performance in the second quarter and make the game-winning pass. However, in that match, we also saw Cleveland's star wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. sadly tear his ACL, which means that he will now miss the rest of the season and maybe miss next season. So get well soon, OBJ. And finally, at UFC 254, after Khabib successfully defended his UFC lightweight title, he announced his retirement from MMA, as he promised his mom that he would retire after his dad's tragic death earlier this year. Khabib has definitely left an incredible legacy in mixed martial arts, as he ends his career with an incredible 29-0 record and will definitely be seen as one of the most dominant athletes ever. So now that we've gone through what has happened in sports in the past week, Let's take a look at some key events which will take place over the course of the weekend and next week in the world of sports. So first off, in tennis, where the most stacked ATP 500 in a long time will come to an end, as the likes of Novak Djokovic and Dominic Thiem competed at the Vienna Open. And in Formula 1, we'll see the return of the Imola Grand Prix for the first time in 14 years. And you should also keep out an eye for the Week 8 of the NFL and some matches in football, or soccer as they call it, as some stellar matches will take place, such as the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens and Manchester United versus Arsenal. So right before I end the show, I'd like to announce the inaugural Athlete of the Week from the Weekly Sports Show. And before I do that, I'd like to give out some honorable mentions. So first off, to Khabib, who managed to successfully defend his UFC lightweight title and retire from the sport on top. I'd also like to give out an honorable mention to Tom Brady, who put in a vintage Tom Brady performance, as discussed earlier on in the show. And to Corey Seager, who was inspirational in the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series wins against the Tampa Bay Rays. However, it's only right if the inaugural Athlete of the Week from the show goes to Lewis Hamilton, who continued his total domination this season and managed to win his 92nd Grand Prix in Portugal last week, meaning that he now has won the most Grand Prix in Formula 1 history. So congrats Lewis, and good luck tonight in the Italian Grand Prix. So that marks the end of the first ever weekly sports show. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week.